Hey, what's going on, everyone? So this is going to be a video response for Ballinnick1982. He made an awesome video asking us, what kind of video game collector are you? So in this video here, I wanted to kind of give you guys a brief rundown of my history as a video game collector. I started collecting video games in the PS1 era. For Christmas of 1997, my parents gave me the original Sony PlayStation and a copy of Final Fantasy VII. So after playing and beating Final Fantasy VII, I had wanted to get some more games for my PlayStation, and so I did some research, which included reading video game magazines like Game Pro and Electronic Gaming Monthly. And since I was an RPG guy, I had wanted to get some more RPGs for my PlayStation. So I was reading up on RPGs that were released before Final Fantasy VII, and there weren't that many PlayStation RPGs that were released prior to Final Fantasy VII. There were 3 games that really caught my eye, and those 3 games were Wild Arms, Suikoden, and Revelations Persona. So I had wanted to get all 3 of those games, and so I set out to find those 3 games. And after months of searching, I had managed to successfully find all 3 games. And being successful in finding these 3 games just really gave me a huge boost of confidence. After that, there was no turning back. My days as a video game collector had just begun. So back then, my video game collecting goals were very simple. I had wanted to buy and collect every good traditional RPG for the PlayStation, and I would buy in every PlayStation game that I bought it with every intention of opening them up and playing it. Now, my first video game system as a kid was the NES, and then we moved to the Super Nintendo and Genesis. And every game that we bought, every game that we got for those systems, we got them. The main reason why we got those games, it was to play those games. Now, the concept of buying games and keeping them sealed at that time during the PlayStation era, that concept was just very foreign to me. So, yeah. Now, although my main focus back then was just to buy RPGs, RPGs weren't the only PlayStation games that I bought. I also bought games from other genres. I bought and played games like the Spyro games, the Crash Bandicoot games, Resident Evil 1 and 2, Tekken 3, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. However, my main focus was just to buy and collect any good traditional RPG for the PlayStation. Now, as I have mentioned in previous videos, I'm not that big of a fan of strategy RPGs, so buying and collecting strategy RPGs for the PlayStation, I wasn't too concerned with getting every strategy RPG for the PlayStation. And then during my research, while reading up on some games, there were a couple games that got lower scores that I just was not interested in buying. And some of these RPGs, PlayStation RPGs that I was not interested in buying included King's Field 1 and 2, Brigadine, and Shadow Tower. With all that said, some of you who have watched some of my older videos might have noticed that I do have quite a few sealed PlayStation games, and some of you might have even guessed as to why those games are still sealed. So as I move over here to show you guys some of my sealed PlayStation RPGs. Now, as I mentioned before, I bought every PlayStation game. Every PlayStation game that I bought it with every intention of opening and playing them. However, I would not open and play a game until I was ready to start playing it. So, in other words, I would keep the game sealed until I was ready to start playing the game. So, since I played a lot of RPGs in the PS1 era, and as a lot of you know, RPGs do tend to take a while to beat. Some of them take 60, 80, even over 100 hours to beat. So it was just inevitable that I would build up a backlog of unplayed PlayStation 1 games, and this backlog extended all the way to the PS2 era, and to this day some of these games are still sealed, and I have no intention of opening these games. That's why I'm really glad that Square put a lot of their PS1 RPGs on PSN. Now, Threads of Fate is on there, and so is Vagrant Story. I think Parasite Eve 2 is on there as well. Now, I wasn't going to open any of these games anyways, but if I wanted to play them, I could just buy the digital copies from PSN and keep these sealed. So, now that the PlayStation 1 era is long gone and over with, how would I evaluate how I did with my PS1 RPG collecting goals? Well, I would say that for the most part, I pretty much bought every RPG, every PlayStation RPG that I was looking to buy. Now, looking through my PS1 RPG collection, there are maybe 5 or 6 games that I wish I would have bought back then, and the most notable ones include Valkyrie Profile and the 2 Ogre games. I had several opportunities to pick up Valkyrie Profile from a retail store, and I also had several opportunities to pick up Tactics Ogre. And I think I saw Ogre Battle maybe once or twice in a retail store. But yeah, but for the most part, I'm quite satisfied with my PS1 RPG collection. In 2002, I bought my PS2 Fat, and yes, I still have it. It still works flawlessly to this day. And yes, this is the box that my PS2 Fat came in. I got this at a Toys R Us for either $200 or $250, whatever the price was for a brand new PS2 back in 2002. That was the price I paid for this. And it looks like someone spilled coffee right here. But yeah, I am quite surprised I still have this box. But with the PS2, I started to play more games from a whole bunch of different genres. Like I said, with the PS1, I mainly stuck to RPGs, but with the PS2, that's when I really got into first-person shooters, starting with games like Medal of Honor Frontline, Unreal Tournament, and then later on playing games like Killzone and Black. And with the PS2, I was introduced to the sandbox open world type games, starting with GTA 3. I absolutely love GTA 3. I think that game is a masterpiece, even with the control issues. Love the GTA series. Also love playing True Crime, Streets of LA. And True Crime New York, that was a pretty enjoyable game too, even with all the bugs. And the sandbox type games have grown to be one of my favorite genres. And of course, with the PS2, I really got into 3D platformers. Love the Jak and Daxter series. Love the Sly games. But my favorite out of the 3 is definitely the Ratchet. So it was about a year or two after I bought my PS2 Fat System that I started to buy and collect sealed games. Now this would be the first time that I would be doing so, because remember, back in the PS1 era, every PS1 game that I bought, I had every intention of opening and playing. So what prompted me to start buying and collecting sealed games? Well, I don't remember, but I think what happened is that at that time I had quite a few sealed PS1 games, and just looking at my sealed PS1 games, I guess I just really liked how they looked all sealed up. So I went out and started collecting sealed PS2 games. Now this sealed Eichel right here, I really like having this in my collection. Then as we move over here, show you guys some of my sealed PS2 RPGs that I pulled from my collection. Now some of these I did buy 2 copies, one to keep sealed and one to open up and play. This guy right here, this guy, Star Ocean Till the End of Time, and Xenosaga Episode 1. These 3 games made it to Greatest Hits status, so I bought the Greatest Hits versions, and those Greatest Hits versions were the ones that I opened up and played. Shadow Hearts right here, and the game that you see above Shadow Hearts, this game takes place before Shadow Hearts. Then over here I have a couple of special collector's edition type games. This one here is Mortal Kombat Deception. I did pay the full $60 for this one, collector's edition, and for this one, some of the special features it has is there's an exclusive arcade perfect playable version of Mortal Kombat 1, 25 character video bios, including MK team commentary and in-depth history of Mortal Kombat franchise. Now, I do like the big box collector editions that have come out, but these smaller package ones, these are really, really cool as well. And then here we have the Final Fantasy 12 collector's edition for PS2. I don't remember how much this one costs. $60 or $70, whatever it was. I did pay full price for this one. And this one comes with a bonus DVD. Now, I don't know if the DVD is region locked, but because it doesn't say, but what the DVD does have is developer interviews, history of Final Fantasy featurettes, art gallery, and US and Japanese trailers. So I went through that period of collecting sealed video games, and I think about maybe 2 years ago, I just started moving away from buying and collecting sealed video games and just focusing on buying games that I would open up and play. So what prompted this change? Again, I don't remember, but my best guess is that when I was looking over my sealed games collection, I was quite satisfied with the sealed games that I have. Now, I don't have the best collection of sealed video games, and I don't have the biggest collection of sealed video games, but what games that I do have, I'm quite satisfied with, and I didn't feel like I needed to actively add games to my sealed games collection. So I just started to mainly focus on buying games that I would eventually open up and play. And that is one of the reasons why I do not mind buying greatest hits games at all. In fact, I do have a stack of greatest hits games right here, and I know a lot of you do not like greatest hits titles at all, so I apologize to anyone who got nauseated looking at this sea of red label games. But I'll give you 2 reasons why I don't mind buying greatest hits games. One, the price. Now, a brand new PS2 game, when it first gets released, is $50, while a greatest hits game is usually only $20. So if I had $50, I can either buy that one brand new game at full $50, or I could use that $50 and buy 2 greatest hits games at $20 a piece, and then I'll have like $10 left over that I could maybe put towards a future purchase of another greatest hits game. Because as a gamer, you just want to buy and play as many games as you can, and buying greatest hits games just meant that I could buy and play more games. And the second reason why I don't mind buying greatest hits games is that with a few exceptions, the content on the greatest hits disc is basically the same as the content on the original Black Label PS2 game. And so when I buy a greatest hits game, I open it up and play it and pop it into my system. And while I'm playing the game, my eyes are glued to the TV screen. I'm enjoying the game, I'm playing the game, and I'm immersed in the game. While I'm playing the game, I am not looking over at my shelf of red label games and saying, "Oh man, all those red label games just look so ugly next to my black label games." No, I'm just, I'm playing the game and I'm enjoying the game, and that's basically all that matters. As for my current collecting goals, right now my main focus is to just buy games that I will eventually open up and play. Yeah, I'm sure that maybe in the future, maybe there might be 1 or 2 games that might cause me to go out and get 2 copies, one to keep sealed and one to open up and play. But the only game that I can think of that might fall into that category, the only potential game, is if they came out with Persona 5, and if there was like a premium box, then I might get like 2 of those premium boxes, one to keep sealed and one to open up and play. But right now my main focus is this. If I read about a game or I hear someone talk about a game and that's a game that I'm interested in playing, then I will go out and buy that game in order to play that game. And that's my main focus now, just to be a gamer. Alright, so thanks Ballinnick1982 for coming up with this video, and thanks everyone for watching.